Whoa! I'm back on the live stream racket here. So obviously I've got a little lint or something on my cap. Looks like it's snowing or something, huh? Anyway, I'm in my comfort suit here in my pajamas. I have a couple different sets of pajamas I wear. When one gets used up, I put on another. So yeah, I should announce these live streams a little bit better. I don't know how people get notified about them. So anyway, um, it's pretty honest about the title. Not real sure about what I want to talk about. You see these? Oops, I'll put it up to the camera there. Some of you might know what they are. This one's empty. It's a matchbook, but it came from a meal ready to eat. I'll read what it says on there. These matches are designed especially for damp climates, but they will not light when wet or after long exposure, several weeks, to very damp air. A little bit of wax was fixed that, but the way packaging works is if they can cut a few cents from the expense, and there's tens of thousands of production, that's a lot of money. So they cut the money, or they cut the expense. So the weather's not very cooperative right now. Not very conducive to things. What they say, April showers bring May flowers. Well, it's getting ready to shower, and that's not a good thing when you got projects and things outdoors. But I was looking around. I got a lot of pallets, scrap pallets and things I've been picking up over my 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 sojourn over heading to work or heading back, and I've picked up several. But I just learned today on another channel how to turn pallets. You separate all the wood planks from the bracing planks and things, and you have basically a bunch of pieces that you reconfigure into a growing bed for. I think it's called square foot or raised bed gardens. So this guy cleverly showed how he could turn one pallet into a raised bed garden. Um, Basically looks like a picture frame. It's just like an open frame with some bracing walls made out of wood. It's kind of like a square shape, and you put dirt in there. And the idea is your plants do a lot better because they're. I guess this sounds funny, but they're closer to the sun than they would be on the ground. Um, well, let me restate that they're they have more access to the sunlight versus being shaded or something down on the ground. And then you have more access to weed the flower or the garden bed and things 'cause it's closer to you, to your digits and your visual periphery. So Works out well if you do it right. All the rage is the metal raised bed gardens, and those are quite a bit more permanent. But supposedly the wood ones will last a few years till they disintegrate. And they could probably just break them up and throw them in another one he built. The video I watched, though, he recycled the fasteners and the nails and the screws from the pallet. It was pretty hard up. I ordered a bunch of stainless steel screws. I'll use a power drill to. I think my dad taught me that if you want things to hold better with wood, use screws. If you just want to clapboard it together, use nails. Because eventually the nails are like a sliding. Well, think of like a curtain slider. Or sorry, a curtain bar. How the curtain rings slide on it. That's what that nail is. It's just a slick bar, and eventually the wood will expand and contract and work loose, and then it'll just start sliding around on that nail, and it won't be as secure as it would be with a wood screw. So I can see myself just taking a pallet, probably a pallet a day, and start breaking them down to their components and reassemble them into raised bed gardens. Getting soil and stuff for that amount that I want to have. Want to put in a lot of gardens this year. It's going to take a lot of soil. Only has so much soil. It's quite different shopping for soil when you're also trying to not be, too active. Trying to stay home and stay safe and all. But yeah, what next? I think when I do these live streams, they're not announced, and then it's just inconvenient for people. That's why I save them. I got really peeved. This guy is pretty smart, but he's set in his ways, and he doesn't save his live streams. And so unless you're Johnny on the spot to catch him, you won't see him. And I got exasperated. I said, "Well, what would be your incentive to save him?" He said, "There wouldn't be any." Next thing you know, he's complaining that um, he's short on money and stuff. Well, if you want to get your talent out there, don't erase it. So I think there's a glut of highly produced YouTube content that's just overproduced. Like me, I'm more rustic and basic, and I got the laundry on the bed type deal. I'm not here to make you feel uncomfortable or to show off. I just want to start being a reliable YouTuber. That way, people know, hey, every day there'll be something new to see. Today, I looked around in my, as some of you know, YouTube went to a new studio format. I was able to navigate to some uploads I did that got put in purgatory, basically. And so I found one that was halfway decent and made that the video for today. But I don't know if it came up. I'm starting to tweet my videos when they're made live. And so if you follow me on Twitter, that's when I'll have a video that goes live. That's probably quite a bit more reliable than not doing it. But But YouTube will announce it or whatever if you're subscribed and you bang that bell. Bang the bell. Ring the bell. What's up with all this slang? You don't even ring the bell. It's not even a bell. It's a picture of a bell. It's a pixelated picture of a bell. So what do you call? I think that people are really assessing their lives right now. They're really going through their mental processes. What makes them tick, what makes them get out of bed in the morning, what makes them fold their laundry, or the lack thereof. And I don't know. It's a good time to figure yourself out. But you also want to brush your teeth and keep your mouth clean and everything. That's the way to fight infection, because I guess a lot of the medical help and things, and probably dentists and things, are out of reach when there's these lockdowns. But don't get sick, and don't get injured. So what am I doing? I'm gonna besides gardening, I had what's called a water trough. Uh, it's a metal dish that's larger, for larger animals to permit them to have water. And farmers and ranchers and stuff and homesteaders and things, they use the water troughs, for things like cows, cattle, or horses, or you know. Um, this one is a big circular trough. It was supposed to be around 300 gallons or so, and I bought it because I wanted to make it was called a hillbilly hot tub, where and substitute hillbilly for low cost, so low cost hot tub. And anyway, I was successful in that, but I couldn't get anybody to enjoy it with me. I thought that there's some kind of weird bias that if it doesn't look like a hot tub, it's not a hot tub. That, or I just don't understand the effort to get it going. I used what's called a immersion heater. The Army surplus all they have, as far as I know, and it's a way to heat up water with basic petroleum. Like I use diesel. You could use other fuels, but diesel's pretty safe. The flash and all flash point things are manageable, but there's stories of people using gasoline, and if it wasn't done right, they'd sound like a mortar going off. That was before my time, but so I'd heat up the water with the immersion heater and have a nice hot soak. So anyway, that's not going to feed me or anything. So what I'm doing this year is I'm going to put my second attempt bluegill fish fingerlings in there to grow in the bluegill fish. My first attempt, it was like literally like relearning like preschool / kindergarten / first grade, second grade, third grade knowledge you should already have, where you have to acclimate fish to water, and in the water you get out of the tap, it could be toxic to the fish. It has preservatives and additives, and disinfectants, and whatever else they add to the water. It and temperature was close to freezing, and I like a well, I was rushing to do the job, and it was a rush job, and that's what happened. Anyway, the first batch of bluegill, about 10 of them, all died within seconds from shock, and they came all the way from Oroville, California, my former hometown, and from a place called Happy Fish Farm. Those fish weren't happy at that point, that's for sure. It was not good to watch them suffocate like that. Wasn't a good sight. And I did it and screwed up. So anyway, I got another batch coming in. And this time the water will be warmer. The water has been sitting in there for over a week. Hopefully it's a lot of the disinfectants and chlorination and bleach and whatever craziness that they add to the water has had a chance to deactivate. And then I'll put those fish. If this batch dies, then I don't know what I'll do. What I might do, one of the people that talked to about it said, "Well, add some of the new water to the old water while they're still in the bag, and run it like that," which is new. Like when I was a kid, you buy the fish and it's in the bag. You know, they add oxygen to the bag and they close the bag. I like that. Maybe it's just air. I don't know what to do. Probably oxygen. It's being shipped. And you just let the bag float in there, but float in the new with the new container. Will obviously be like a fish tank or something. But I had forgotten all that core knowledge because I was in a rush. So it goes to show when you're in a rush, because you got to be somewhere because you're obligated through whatever machinations, and you gotta leave, and you're in a rush. Your core, I almost call it ancestral knowledge on things, can be abrogated, and you make really simple mistakes, cost fishy lives. So what's the point? What's the point? Well, those fish, I want to get into aquaponics, and those fish will be crapping in the water. And what what I've already have sitting at the post office. I'm a little skittish about getting in my little town. My little town, they won't deliver. The United States Post Office will not deliver your mail to your house. You got to go to the post office and fetch it out of your PO box. Always be aware of that. Like if you're within these town limits, these small towns, they pull that con job. You pay full postage price and you get less than full service. So now you have everybody congregating in the post office with that bug running around. That's where people would get it from. If not at that, then the packages. If you look at the Spanish bug from the 1918 and a few years afterwards, it spread around through the mail. So that's, I mean, I think that new stuff is spreading around in the mail, and eventually it's going to deactivate the post office, I would think. So I'm gunning the motor on getting some things that possibly won't be available if they suspend operations. You know. The other thing I'm it's real sad. I had all the time in the world, it seems, and now I don't. I have an old dog kennel. I paid top dollar for this dog kennel. I think the company that makes them is not in operation anymore. But it's all galvanized, you know, chain link fencing, and it's got a top on it. It's pretty big. Well, the dog got stolen, and I kind of repurposed it as a catch-all. I got some Edison batteries in there and stuff that really need to be stored out of the weather. I mean, I got some covering on them, but that's not good enough. So what I want to do is repurpose that big old kennel into a chicken run, and then maybe fabricate a chicken coop from some of that pallet wood. You know, as I learn the consistency, as I get familiarized with working with pallet wood, making raised bed gardens, hopefully I can throw together a chicken coop out of the pallet wood, throw it into the Earthsat's chicken run made out of a dog kennel. So I'm really partial to silky chickens. I've seen them before, but I've read up on them. Now I really want them because they're super chill. They've got the fur on them and stuff that might make them a little bit better for cold weather that we get here where I live in the state. And they're quiet and they're gentle-ish for chickens, and they look cool. They kind of look like poodles. So you know, they're all fluffy and everything. So maybe about doing that. And here in town, they just last year they made it permissive to have chickens, but you got to pay a chicken license. It's $15 a year. So I got to make it worth it. Well, it will be worth it because if I can get fresh eggs from the hens, you know, that's a couple meals a week at least. It'll be a long time. See, what I want to do is you can go on eBay and order fertilized eggs, and then they ship them to you, and then you put them. You have a chicken hatchery, a chicken egg incubator, and then you hatch the eggs, and then you have the chickens, and you gotta care for them as they develop into chickens. That's how that's done. Long time ago, ordered a bunch of like 25 chicks that were all vaccinated and sexed for their gender and whatever for to be all hens, and I had that shipped to my parents. But I can't have 20. There's a limit of 10 chickens, so I can't just order chicks like that. I wish I could. Maybe I need to check it out. Maybe I could order 10 chicks. What's something I need to check out? Yeah, I found out later on what they do to the roosters. When they just kill them, they throw them in a meat grinder, more or less. Usually, little chick roosters. Turn them into some other product. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I think at least chicken mass marketed or mass. It was a documentary. It was about factory farms. I think that's what it was. I saw it. Maybe this place doesn't do that, but how would they get rid? I guess you could eat the rooster. I don't know what you would do. The value with chickens is to have hens that lay tons of eggs. And back in the Depression era, you'd have your egg laying chickens. When they finally wouldn't lay any more eggs, they'd become they'd usually be old, and the you know, just information I picked up over the years. The chickens would be old and stringy, their flesh, and you'd turn them into soup, or they'd be soup or pot chicken in the pot, you know, chickens. Get that one last meal out of them. You know, in your Depression era, your values and things are quite a bit different. There's a movie called Return to Oz. It's based on some of L. Frank Baum's books, and there's a chicken in there called Billina, and she talks about being cooked up if if she's not laying the eggs. In fact, it's a major plot point. But yeah, the talking chicken. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if anybody's watching this live stream. Um, let me type let me test the comments here. I usually write test, and one of these days, hopefully, someone will be like, "Hey, it works," or "Hi." So, yeah, it's asking a lot to have somebody sit there. Usually, it would be on their computer, I imagine, or their little phone, and tune in, and you're supposed to entertain them for how long? But I think I'm this is like some scrap plastic from like I think that if you upload videos all the time, like every day, and you go on live stream all the time, I think your averages would be able to be pushed up in the popularity contest. It'll shoot up a little bit. So it's kind of a personal challenge to me, See if I can upload a video every day, or find or dust one off from the video purgatory, because I would upload from different phones. I have my equipment is rinky dink compared to a lot of these YouTubers. I'm using like decades old. My laptop's a decade old. A lot of the smartphones I have are 3, 4 years old. Sometimes older. And so they would upload the video and then it would go to a purgatory that I just discovered. So, or I wouldn't want to use it because the aspect was funny or something. So, but yeah, let's see. I don't know. As far as YouTube is concerned, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I have one of those YouTube Premium subscriptions, so I don't have the ads pestering me all the time. I recommend you do that. If you watch a lot of YouTube, go ahead and pony up and do that, because especially if you have a one single track mind. If you're really trying to learn something, or pay attention to something, and then the whole feed gets switched over to advertisement, then you lost your train of thought. Um, it would be like skiing down a hill, and and there's a bunch of trees on the hill, and then you lose sight of where you're going for a few seconds, and then you get out of that, and then suddenly you've skied right into a tree. Um, and yeah, with the YouTube Premium, like people that have it and they watch a video, the video uploader gets a little smidgen of compensation from that. So, but it's all about how you want to use your time. I mean, obviously, have time management priorities, and what's the opposite of priority? Uh, non-priority, priority list, unpriority. Like I gotta fold my laundry. The funny thing with laundry, if you never fold it, you eventually wear it. And it doesn't matter. Isn't that weird? So, I want to talk about these YouTube video creators. Like they have a high resolution camera. Sometimes, well, a lot of times it's 4K, and then they have an editing suite, like Adobe editing suite or something like that. And I guess when you upload to YouTube, they lower the resolution somewhat. Anyway, but it's kind of like it's kind of like if you have a high the highest resolution possible, the fact that they derate it, it's still higher than than like average video like of the past, even though the resolution has been derated. So you have these people that are they're really like, some of them are masters at video editing and adding special effects and animations and visual artifacts, all kinds of things. But what I've found that's extremely bothersome to me, and oops, I got my kerosene lantern going. Sometimes I shake it to hear how much kerosene is left in there. Anyway, I want to put this away, so I'm using it. It's supposed to warm up here soon, hopefully. So these videos where they keep cutting the scene. There's something called a flicker rate, like they've noticed with television and stuff, and movies. Each you'd almost call it a still image. It's just in succession. There's a certain thing where it's done in a certain way. It hypnotizes you. It hypnotizes the viewer. And then what I've noticed, some of these high profile YouTubers, they'll have a studio, like a literal studio, like professional looking, compared to mine. Obviously, my studio is like my bed right here. And then they'll be nicely dressed, and then probably a good haircut or whatever hairstyle. And if they do have a background, if it's not a green screen or something, it'll have like different objects and stuff. It's like to keep your, normally when a person walks into a room, their eyes will either connect with the occupants of the room, or they'll scan the room looking for objects of interest. So you have a bunch of crazy things. Like I've seen figurines, I've seen collectibles and whatever. People will have like stacks of that in the background, and then for whatever reason that helps you. It helps you get distracted, and then you end up watching the video or something, because you like there'll be something just out of view that'll be poking up, and you're waiting for the person that's doing the video to kind of like move a little bit so you can see more what the heck it is. It's kind of these are tricks that I've noticed. The one thing that bugs me quite a bit, like, is I've seen it, it's fine if it's used occasionally, but I've noticed that a lot of times they'll be like extreme close up, and then they'll be back, and they'll be extreme close up, but not with the person getting close to the video. It'd be the video zooming in and then zooming out, and then zoom, and it drives me crazy. The other thing too, like, they'll ask you to like and subscribe like multiple times during the video, and apparently it works on people. I think it's the law of averages. Like, it worked on me a few times. Like, oh yeah, I'll support you, but then they don't stop. They don't stop. You can't placate them. It's never enough, and it gets old. I'm telling you. I call it like fatigue. Like, quit asking me to like this crap. It's a weird rigged system. It should be just like once, or not at all. So as opposition to that, I'm not doing that. In order to be noticed, you have to be different. You can't be the same which is ironic because originally YouTube was casual, and then the people that dressed up and put in a lot of effort and money and things into their presentation, they were different, so they got noticed. But now the difference is to be casual. So, but I don't think my audience will ever be that big. I just don't talk about superficial stuff. And you'll see like the there's a gradient. Um, the more erudite the subject, the less audience. There's some MRE gum. It's hard as it's really hard. It's like a seal, like CAULK. That's what it reminds me of. I wonder if that could be used for repairs. Interesting. It's not sticky like civilian gum, like Wrigley or something. It's MRE gum. I think I put it somewhere to. I guess in the depression area too. Like if you had chewing gum, you would save it. Answer that. I don't usually save it though. Well, I might have to. Yeah, I'm hurting for things to talk about, and I don't think I have a huge audience here. Like there's a little widget or something. It's like two people, and there's a one next to it, and so I don't know if it counts as me watching myself or what, but yeah, I don't know. Like there isn't a whole lot of interaction going on here, which is fine. It's good practice. So yeah, I've got the makings to be a good host of some kind of show. My channel, Military Industrial Museum, is I thought of that name based off of Eisenhower's military industrial complex speech. I guess originally the way it was written, I've heard or seen some indication that it was supposed to be the military industrial congressional complex, but that was edited out or something. But military industrial museum, that's specific and yet broad enough to where I could talk about, for example, this this valve I ordered. This valve cost me a lot of money. It failed. It's basically a quick connect for a shower that I had, and it failed, and it blew the shower. It was a military diesel fired shower. Blew a gasket, and it's one of those proprietary designs where it's a pain in the what to try to find it. Even if you could, you'd have to. So what I ended up doing today was ordered some basic gasket material, pretty thin, and I'll try to use that. But it's a bugbear to fire this thing up and then see that the seal failed, because you don't just turn it on, turn it off like a light switch. There's a whole boot up and shut down procedure. So, but yeah, so industrially, I could discuss it. It's an industrial item. It's a brass check valve. Well made and whatever. At least enough to get it sold, but then it failed and it cost the equipment. So, and then military stuff, like I'd always talk. I'm a military surplus collector, so I would have endless things to talk about. Like I don't even have to worry. I can just reach out. This is a case that would hold things like a Gerber multi-tool. I'd have this in Iraq, and and the tool goes in there like that, and it hooks on your belt, and it's still usable today. And it's over a decade old now. Sometimes I still use it. This is a back then. This was it was like considered an electronics pouch. This is all custom stuff. Well, some of it is. This is. I ordered this, and it's got the way you hook it on your belt like that, and you can adjust the size and how it attaches. Pretty nifty. It's padded, so things aren't completely destroyed. I used to have a little cell phone that fit in there. It was really great. It was a Sony. After I came out from Iraq, I paid full price. It was a Sony. I forget what it's called. But basically, it was like a little PlayStation phone, and that was awesome while it lasted. Kept it alive for a long time. Finally, it just crapped out. I think it got wedged in that case against the seatbelt in my truck, and it smashed it or something. I bought a replacement, but it wasn't as good as the one I had. And with those lithium batteries, you got to keep up on them, because if you don't, they draw themselves down past a certain voltage, and they're toast after if they get too far down. And they're toast anyway. They're not like Edison or Younger nickel iron nickel cadmium, where you boot them up decades later. So that's part of that's part of how I do things. Like, it's a reciprocating learning mechanism where I don't like that, so I'll go a different direction. If I like that, I'll adhere to that, and I'll branch off to other ways and try to interconnect the learning processes, and if something's wrong, I can eventually work out of the wrongness of it, because I'm able to think independently. Even if I think I'm correct, I sanity check my own thoughts. Because sometimes you can be so sure of yourself that you don't see if you're incorrect. And at that point, you're now functioning in an incorrect paradigm without any corrective reset. So I might believe something, then I'll check out the alternative views on it, just to have a knowledge. And the more you know, the less you know. You can be set in your ways really well, especially as you're younger. Well, as you start out younger, not younger, but younger. Well, Voldemort Younger, the guy that started Knifey, some of my other videos. But from a younger age, you usually have like a tribal or ancestral belief system that's good enough to get to your basic incorporation of your place in the system. But as you become older, you're able to deviate from the original programming and see other ways, and maybe even new ways, new to you at least. So, yeah, I think I'm going to shut this down. I don't know if I can do a whole hour. It's getting kind of late here. We'll see. It's kind of I might shoot for an hour. I've seen other live streamers go for about an hour, and it's kind of a push for just talking to yourself. But it's interesting. Are you able to string words together in such a manner to stay relatively cohesive, relatively intact in your how do you say it? Prognostication. One of those people that over the years read far more words than I've spoke them, And there's some words that you're unable to use at all in regular, ordinary conversation. If you try to, you'll be labeled as incomprehensible. Fine vocabulary can only be appreciated by a person who knows what you're saying. And a lot of human interaction could just be grunting and pointing. Usually, ideally, you're going to use the least amount of communication it takes to get the process done that you're aiming for. A lot of times, you got to tailor your communication for your audience as well. Using the colloquialisms and things, regional, foundational mores and things like that identifies you as one of your audience, one of the target groups, trusted associates. But I think they were saying that was something called code switching, where if you go down, say, in the southern parts of the United States, and you start talking a little bit more relaxed, and you start saying, ain't that something? And I kind of wanted to go over there, but ended up over here, kind of thing. That's code switching, where you get original accent, or what's the other word? It's basically, I can't think of the word. It sucks. I always used to say I didn't know other languages, but I knew this word, which I can't think of. Anyway, it's late. Well, yeah, if you get good, if you listen in, like, you can get rusty and not do it, but you can do it. Code switching, to enhance communication, and if you're able to do it on multiple levels, all the better, because people really want to hear you in a way that they're comfortable. And even though there's a competition about how to say things and how to say them, sometimes saying things simpler and more direct is definitely what you want to do. Clear communication. Like in the military, they have something called bluff, bottom line, up front, with written communication. So what is the point of this letter? Put it in the first couple sentences right at the top. Then you can elaborate. I guess that's meant for, like, hey, I need to know what's going on right away. I don't got time to proofread this crap. Just tell me. So you can do that. You can do that with everyday conversation. I've tried it. They can be like, so how is your love life? even though it's out of sync with the normal human communication. It's really blunt. But if they're able to sustain the deviation, then it's almost like a hack, or a cheat code where you can access the next level and circumvent a lot of, or take shortcuts through a lot of extraneous maneuvers. But yeah, I served a year or a tour in Iraq with the Mississippi National Guard, and I picked up somewhat a little bit of that stuff, but I'm really not that good. I ended up sounding like Forrest Gump or something, which is too slow. And that's an actor imitating a style anyway. It's not truly uh, the authentic. Try to think of that word. Why can't I think of that word? Why can't I think of that word? It's a little bit tricky, but I think I can figure it out. Uh, Maybe if I think a little bit slower. Maybe if I tune down my temper, I can I can figure out the word. Well, I can always Google the word. Dialect. Dialect. I think that's what it is. Yeah, the dialect of the southern dialect. I used to be good, but you start sounding like Elvis or Forrest Gump or some fake version of that. Some fake version of that. Well, I've noticed when I actually, if I listen to somebody using it, I can start reflecting it back on them and like imitating them. But just doing it from a cold turkey like this, well, it ain't that good. It's like something a little off key. You almost have to have like a puffy mouth. Puffy mouth. You almost have to have a puffy mouth. Kind of helps with this with the inflection. But anyway, I used to have this girlfriend that would just double up with laughter whenever I talk all soft and slow. She would just she would just it would just kill her every time, with joy. So I learned at that point, sometimes you can tickle people's eardrums with certain uh, manners of communication. So, but yeah, if you can't learn another language, try to learn a different dialect for the language you do speak. Different ways of saying things. Learn the slang, learn the forbidden words and things like that. You know, enhances communication. You know, when I say something angrily, it could have more weight than if I say it calmly without emotion. If I use hand gestures and body positions and facial expressions and things like that, it's all communication. But the thing with the human experience is if you start seeing the same uh, type communication all over or all the time, it's like a one-trick pony. Like you want to see occasional bursts of irate, anger and things like that. Not all the time. You do it all the time, it becomes unbelievable, disauthentic. It's basically if something's always available, whether it's well, in this case, it's anger in your communication, or just always being perpetually angry, because there's no uh, limit to it. Then there's no value to it. If it's extremely limited and focused and poignant, then it's um, more effective. But you use it too much, it wears it out. So becomes a crutch that you can't get around without. So yeah, I was looking at that interaction bar. It went up by one. Like one person, so it became two. I think the one, because it's always been there, is me. So I'm talking to myself. And then if it goes up to two, then someone else joined up. But I was talking all funny, and they vacated. That's just the way it is. Like I'm sure just random people on the internet like, whoa, what's this guy in pajamas and needs to do his laundry? He needs to fold his laundry. He has something to say, There used to be this New York gal, and she'd come on and talk about stuff, and she's very interesting to listen to. But it was just the average gal, talking that, average looking, average talking, and it was quite engaging. And she'd respond to you and stuff like that. And I don't know where she went. Um, it was quite interesting. I always had something interesting to say. She'd be complaining about something, and it'd be quite relatable. But I'll get some fans. The thing is, I have no fan base. This is like my fourth live stream. I did one a long time ago, and the connection was bad. It was parsed up. It looked like it was a chop shop, couple seconds, this and that. And I was responding, like, I knew this one gal that would write these letters that were like a phone book, and instead of responding to it, I just want to talk through it, and that was the response, and it was all goofy. And so for a long time, I was jaded as far as wanted to continue with live stream, but apparently this is working okay. So I might need to actually, work on the studio and this and that. But imagine doing all that and having no audience. How, instead of just being comfortable and be like, we'll test this out. We'll see how it goes. If no one shows up, that's fine. But what I'll do is I'll save this. And so if you're hard up for another uh, human person's voice, then you'll have that. I'm grabbing my foot here. My hand grabbing my foot. Anyway. So yeah, we're at 56:37. It's quite an accomplishment. You listen to these radio talk show hosts, and they go on for sometimes 4 hours. Well, they got little intermissions and breaks though. See, this has been a solid monologue. I don't know. Is there another person listening to me? Are you able to type something in on your device? I mean, that would help me appreciate the whole communication aspect of this thing, but maybe not. I think it's just me talking to myself. So hello self, how you doing? When you see this, it'll be in the future. I hope you didn't make too many mistakes. Like Churchill said, that the winner of the battle, the winner of the conflict will be the side that makes the least mistakes. So don't be making those mistakes. I know you make them a lot when you're in a hurry. So try to not be in a hurry. That's advice from me. And it's two ways. It's a one-way street. It's myself talking to myself in the future. I wish my future self could help my past self maybe avoid some of those mistakes, but it doesn't work like that. It's like this broken one-way quick disconnect. It only works one way, and one day it doesn't work, and then it blows your diesel-fired shower. So anyway, we're at 58:26. I don't think anybody wants to see this crap. That's fine. That's all right. It's just the nature of it. But you'd be amazed though too. Like someone will want to talk to you right during your live stream or right after, and your mouth is worn out. You're like, can I get a cool cloth? Like, can I get a cool cloth for my jaw? It's darn near worn out. Yeah, I can't. I'm suffering on that. I'm not trying to make fun of anything. I'm just showing my decayed talent there. So, anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you did, hopefully this helped you out. You can learn about things by what I reference. I just end up referencing random things, and if you get really hard up and you have an ability to do it, check them out. I mean, if they record themselves up there in the neural network, it must have some significance. The way my mind works, you remember the essential and forget the non-essential. So it's like a big stone wall with little bricks of info. All right, so we're about an hour, so I'm gonna cut this off. All right, and save it. Thank you. Come back next time and maybe write some suggestions to me or something. Get in touch. Tell me. Well, I'm gonna be starting to work again, so I gotta work around my work, if you know what I mean. This is like a side gig for me. Okay, take care.